One of the really random jobs that I had when I was putting myself through grad school, as well as building up my caseload as a psychotherapist in private practice, was I was an apartment locator. I know it was random. I wasn't just an apartment locator that was just kind of doing it in, I guess, the quote unquote normal situation. No, I was located in Uptown Dallas, where if any of you are familiar, that is like Nepo Baby Central. That was where like really rich kids would move to and they would live and everything would be walking distance. There would be bar, restaurant, bar. And all the frats and all the sororities would like basically go down there and they wanted to live there. And they used me as their apartment locator. Honestly, the Nepo babies and like the really rich kids that went to like a really rich private school that was just up the road from my office, that was kind of the easiest part of my job. Yes, there was some entitlement to kids basically walking in with like a $5,000 budget. Mommy and daddy was gonna pay for their like high-rise penthouse apartment. That part, actually low-key kind of entertaining from a family therapy perspective. But the most stressful part of my job, I will never forget this couple that came in. They walked in, they were a British couple, and I am not talking, I'm actually a proud Anglophile. I love anything British. I am in no way disparaging British people as a whole. But compared to Americans, they know how to fucking tear you down. This lovely middle-aged British couple walks in to my office and they're like, we have a budget. It really wasn't that high, but they're like, we have a budget and we want this and this and this. I said, all right, easy enough. What I can go ahead and do is I can email you a list of properties just to kind of have on file. And I can also help you go tour some of these properties today if you want to. They're like, no, we're going to just kind of think about it. But we definitely want that list. And what we'll do is, since we're going to be busy today, is we will come back tomorrow and have you tour some of the properties with us. And I said, cool. So tomorrow came. I'm sitting in my living room in my pajamas, minding my own business, and I get a call from the husband. And he's like, you're wasting our time. And I'm like, excuse me? And he's like, you're wasting our time. You told us that you were going to send us a list of properties based on this, and this, and we're not seeing any of that, and we're really upset. You're wasting our time. In retrospect, I should have just said, here are 3 referrals. Because not only can therapists do that, apartment locators can do that too. But I was relatively new and I was hungry and I was eager to learn. And I just said, okay. I'm like, do you still want to tour with me today? And he's like, well, we do, but we really need you to fix this. Like just the most like outlandish, I don't even know what it was about. I think he was irritated by how the email looked and that the list of properties wasn't ordered a certain way. So I call my broker, because when you're an apartment locator, you have to have a real estate license and you have to be sponsored by a broker. So I called my broker and I said, can you maybe call them and like try to reason with them? Keep in mind, this was on a Sunday morning. And she's like, yeah, I can. Are you sure it's something that you can't handle? And I'm like, I am completely shocked. I don't know what to do. She's like, let me talk to them. And keep in mind, my broker was very, very calm, very even keeled. And I've watched her really, really talk people down. So my broker calls them and then she calls me back and she's like, oh, he's a fucking dick. You sure you want to work with that? And again, I'm thinking, yeah, let me see what happens. I get to the office. They come in, and again, they're very sweet, but I'm just like, oh my God. These people already scare me, and I literally haven't even taken them to one property tour yet. And the wife sits down, and she's like, I like the color shirt that you're wearing. And I was like, oh, thank you. And I'm thinking, okay, maybe they're gonna be nice. Maybe he was just having a bad morning. The wife fucking lays into me and she's like, we don't understand why you told us one thing yesterday and then now we're getting a completely different thing anytime that we open the email. We don't understand. What is this? And why are you doing this to us? You're wasting our time. I don't do well with people who get really aggressive like this. Like I freeze. Everybody has a fight, flight, freeze, or fawn, and I freeze. And I'm like, well, that's how the system is operated. That's how it's set up. And it was just both of them just machine gunning complaints at me about how awful the email was that I sent to them, which by the way, it was generated from a system that all of us use. And that was the only time I had ever gotten a complaint from anybody. And finally, the husband just did something so douchey. Ugh, I'm getting so upset just talking about it. He's like, get your broker on the phone. Get her on the phone right now. Get her on the, like, just talking to me like I'm a fucking dog. And so I call my broker again, and she has the audacity to not pick up. And this couple goes, we're done, I'm leaving, we're done. So they get up and storm out. And I'm trying to be as compassionate as I can be, but I'm just like, I'm sorry. I'm like, I understand. And the wife is like, no, you don't understand. And I'm sorry you don't understand. And they storm out. So that was the moment that I was like, okay, my private practice caseload was picking up. And I thought to myself, why am I doing this job even though it's decent money when I really need to be focusing more on my private practice and building that up? So that is when I quit apartment locating and went into psychotherapy full-time, and I have never turned back. As stressful as this job is as a psychotherapist in private practice, I have the power to fire clients whenever they act out of pocket. And if I'm being treated like a dog, I have no problem now in telling people, there's the door. And this couple is also a reason why I have a 0 tolerance policy for verbal or emotional abuse.